shall sink under the temptation has grown stronger and stronger on me. I have determined to put it beyond my power to have my own way and follow my own will. Mother Oldershaw shall be the salvation of me for the first time since I have known her. If I can't pay my note of hand, she threatens me with an arrest. Well, she shall arrest me. In the state my mind is in now, the best thing that can happen to me is to be taken away from Thorpe Ambrose, whether I like it or not. I will write and say that I am to be found here. I will write and tell her, in so many words, that the best service she can render me is to lock me up. 7 o'clock. The letter has gone to the post. I had begun to feel a little easier, when the children came in to thank me for taking them to the show. One of them is a girl, and the girl upset me. She is a forward child, and her hair is nearly the color of mine. She said, "I shall be like you when I have grown bigger, shan't I?" Her idiot of a mother said, "Please excuse her, miss," and took her out of the room, laughing. Like me! I don't pretend to be fond of the child, but think of her being like me! Saturday morning. I have done well for once in acting on impulse, and writing as I did to Mrs. Oldershaw. The only new circumstance that has happened is another circumstance in my favor. Major Milroy has answered Armadale's letter, entreating permission to call at the cottage and justify himself. His daughter read it in silence when Armadale handed it to her at their meeting this morning in the park. But they talked about it afterward, loud enough for me to hear them. The major persists in the course he has taken. He says his opinion of Armadale's conduct has been formed, not on common report, but on Armadale's own letters, and he sees no reason to alter the conclusion at which he arrived when the correspondence between them was closed. This little matter had, I confessed, slipped out of my memory. It might have ended awkward for me, if Major Milroy had been less obstinately wedded to his own opinion. Armadale might have justified himself, the marriage engagement might have been acknowledged, and all my power of influencing the matter might have been at an end. As it is, they must continue to keep the engagement strictly secret, and Miss Milroy, who has never ventured herself near the great house since the thunderstorm forced her into it for shelter, will be less likely than ever to venture there now. I can part them when I please, with an anonymous line to the major. I can part them when I please. After having discussed the letter, the talk between them turned on what they were to do next. Major Milroy's severity, as it soon appeared, produced the usual results. Armadale returned to the subject of the elopement, and this time she listened to him. There is everything to drive her to it. Her outfit of clothes is nearly ready, and the summer holidays, at the school which has been chosen for her, end at the end of next week. When I left them, they had decided to meet again and settle something on Monday. The last words I heard him address to her, before I went away, shook me a little. He said, "There is one difficulty, Neelie, that needn't trouble us, at any rate. I have got plenty of money." And then he kissed her. The way to his life began to look an easier way to me when he talked of his money and kissed her. Some hours have passed, and the more I think of it, the more I fear the blank interval between this time and the time when Mrs. Oldershaw calls in the law and protects me against myself. It might have been better if I had stopped at home this morning. But how could I, after the insult she offered me yesterday? I tingled all over to go and look at her. To-day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They can't arrest me for the money before Wednesday, and my miserable £5 are dwindling to 4. And he told her he had plenty of money, and she blushed and trembled when he kissed her. It might have been better for him, better for her, and better for me if my debt had fallen due yesterday, and if the bailiffs had their hands on me at this moment. Suppose I had the means of leaving Thorpe Ambrose by the next train, and going somewhere abroad, and absorbing myself in some new interest among new people, could I do it, rather than look again at that easy way to his life which would smooth the way to everything else? Perhaps I might. But where is the money to come from? Surely some way of getting it struck me a day or two since. Yes, that mean idea of asking Armadale to help me. Well, I will be mean for once. I'll give him the chance of making a generous use of that well-filled purse which it is such a comfort to him to reflect on in his present circumstances. It would soften my heart toward any man if he lent me money in my present extremity; and if Armadale lends me money, it might soften my heart toward him. When shall I go? At once? I won't give myself time to feel the degradation of it, and to change my mind. 3 o'clock. I mark the hour. He has sealed his own doom. He has insulted me. Yes, I have suffered it once from Miss Milroy, and I have now suffered it a second time from Armadale himself. An insult, a marked, merciless, deliberate insult, in the open day. I had got through the town, and had advanced a few hundred yards along the road that leads to the great house, when I saw Armadale at a little distance coming toward me. He was walking fast, evidently with some errand of his own to take him to the town. The instant he caught sight of me he stopped, colored up, took off his hat, hesitated, and turned aside down a lane behind him, which I happened to know would take him exactly in the contrary direction to the direction in which he was walking when he first saw me. His conduct said in so many words, "Miss Milroy may hear of it. I daren't run the risk of being seen speaking to you. Men have used me heartlessly; men have done and said hard things to me; but no man living ever yet treated me as if I was plague struck, and as if the very air about me was infected by my presence. I say no more. When he walked away from me down that lane, he walked to his death. I have written to Midwinter to expect me in London next week, and to be ready for our marriage soon afterward. 4 o'clock. Half an hour since I put on my bonnet to go out and post the letter to Midwinter myself; and here I am, still in my room, with my mind torn by doubts, and my letter on the table. Armadale counts for nothing in the perplexities that are now torturing me. It is Midwinter that makes me hesitate. Can I take the first of those 3 steps that lead to the end, without the common caution of looking at consequences? Can I marry Midwinter without knowing beforehand how to meet the obstacle of my husband when the time comes which transforms me from the living Armadale's wife to the dead Armadale's widow? Why can't I think of it, when I know I must think of it? Why can't I look at it steadily as I have looked at all the rest? I feel his kisses on my lips; I feel his tears on my bosom; I feel his arms around me again. He is far away in London, and yet he is here, and won't let me think of it. Why can't I wait a little? Why can't I let time help me? Time! It's Saturday. What need is there to think of it, unless I like? There is no post to London to day. I must wait. If I posted the letter, it wouldn't go. Besides, to morrow I may hear from Mrs. Oldershaw. I ought to wait to hear from Mrs. Oldershaw. I can't consider myself a free woman till I know what Mrs. Oldershaw means to do. There is a necessity for waiting till to morrow. I shall take my bonnet off, and lock the letter up in my desk. Sunday morning. There is no resisting it. One after another the circumstances crowd on me. They come thicker and thicker, and they